Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Jubitaz, and today I'm back to tackle a topic that at least some of you seem to be pretty interested in, ranking all of the shinobi villages in Naruto. Now, the basis for my ranking of the shinobi villages will primarily depend on the shinobi services offered by said village, but I'll also be taking into consideration the village's reputation, as well as any famous shinobi or jutsu that hail from the village. I'll mostly focus on the current generation, but I will also mention the historical figures and achievements or developments of said village. I'll also not include the villages that were exclusively mentioned in the filler or the movies, like the village hidden in the stars or the village hidden in the snow. I'll only be ranking the ones mentioned in canon, though I might bring some anime feats for the more obscure nations. Now, we got a long video ahead, so let's not waste any time and jump straight to it. Number 10, I got the Hidden Steam Village. Now, the reason that I ranked the Hidden Steam this low isn't because it's the weakest village, but because, like I had discussed in my latest Hidan video, which I highly suggest if you haven't checked it out already, the Hidden Steam Village decided to cease their shinobi services and rebrand the village itself as a tourist hub due to the abundance of natural hot springs. So the Hidden Steam doesn't even produce shinobi anymore, and even when they did, they were considered to be one of the weaker, more irrelevant nations. The only shinobi we know from that village is Hidan, and while Hidan's not weak, he still pales in comparison to shinobi from the other villages, and even then, he was like the strongest to hail from there. So the average Hidden Steam ninja was not Hidan level. Number 9 is the Hidden Grass Village. Now, the Hidden Grass is pretty obscure, so we don't know that much about it, but it's always been one of the weaker nations. Let's not forget that the Hidden Grass was invaded during the Third Ninja War by the Hidden Stone, and they were completely helpless to fight off the greater nation. We also get to see a bit more of the village in the anime when we see Karin's backstory. She apparently grew up there, and it was awful. Their shinobi seemed to sustain so many injuries and casualties whenever they engaged an enemy. The village was kinda pathetic, not gonna lie. The only ninja we know from there were those Chunin exam participants whose face was stolen by Orochimaru. In the Blood Prison movie, the grass apparently possessed some ancient super weapon that propelled the old hidden grass to be seen as a powerful force. But even if I were to take the movie feat seriously, it was an ancient forgotten weapon. I certainly wouldn't hire shinobi from there. Number 8 is the village hidden in the waterfalls. The waterfall village is objectively better or more prestigious than the two aforementioned ones. Let's not forget that it's the only one not from the 5 great nations that still possessed a tailed beast, the Seven Tails. If we look at the anime, the reason given for their possession of chomei is the village's reputation for producing highly skilled jonin. And unlike the hidden grass, the waterfall is more capable of fending off invasions. The village itself was home to a multitude of powerful natural resources and techniques, like the hero water produced once every 100 years that apparently gives whoever drinks it 10 times their original chakra level, and the Earth Grudge Sphere that was stolen by Kakuzu when he went rogue. Speaking of Kakuzu, he's from the Hidden Waterfall, and even though he failed his mission, the fact that the elders believed that he could even succeed in killing the first Hokage is quite telling of the Hidden Waterfall's elite shinobi skills. Number 7, the Hidden Sound Village. Now, the Hidden Sound is very different from all the other villages, in the sense that it wasn't really a hidden village, but kind of a front for Orochimaru's human experimentation and scientific development empire. So if you couldn't even hire shinobi for missions from the Sound, why'd I bother including it? Well, apparently, after Orochimaru's help and redemption in the Fourth War, the Hidden Sound was re-established as a legitimate shinobi village. Despite the fact that it was a small nation, the Hidden Sound excelled in jutsu development. Not only because it was led by the scientific mad genius, but also because Orochimaru personally sought out skilled shinobi or ninja with unique abilities to work under him. And due to all of his experiments, Orochimaru developed the curse mark, which he would gift to his more talented followers. The curse mark would solidify Orochimaru's control over them. The hidden sound was also successful in pulling off covert missions and assassinations, like escorting Sasuke Uchiha outside the village, or the assassination of the 4th Kazekage, as well as the joint invasion of Konoha. The sound managed to dupe the much larger nation of the Sand, but unfortunately for them, this is as high as I can rank it, since the average sound shinobi seemed to be a bit underwhelming, with Guy, Kakashi, and even Asuma being able to defeat them casually in the hordes. Number 6 is the Hidden Rain Village. Now I know, should the Hidden Rain really be ranked this high considering that it was always getting invaded by foreign lands? But you have to remember that the reason for this was the rain's unfortunate location. It was literally right in between 3 of the 5 great nations. So it was almost inevitable for it to become war-torn. The Hidden Rain still performed a lot better than the Grass Village, for example, and didn't just roll over and submit to the great nations. For example, Hanzo was able to face an entire platoon of Leaf Ninja and kill them all, and then he spared the Sannin. He's actually the one that gave them the title. They were legends just because they survived an encounter with Hanzo. And even after the revolution and the civil war in the Hidden Rain, the next in line was even more powerful than Hanzo. The village always isolated itself from the outside world, which made its defenses impenetrable during the more recent eras. One interesting fact is that the Hidden Rain had sent the most ninja to the Chunin exams, around 21 participants, despite the civil war. Their ninja were frequently hired for assassination missions and they wore rebreather masks. But eventually, all of the ninja loyal to Hanzo were picked off one at a time. The Hidden Rain is also famous for hosting the Rinnegan, so you could say that the Rain could defeat the greater nations when Pain was their leader, but I still didn't want to rank the Rain higher than the great nations, since it would kinda get devastated whenever war occurred. Okay now, top 5, which means that we finally made it to the 5 great nations. Starting off with number 5, the Hidden Sand Village, in the Land of Wind, so it was common for shinobi to use wind-style techniques. The Hidden Sand has always been the unluckiest of the 5. Its leader kept getting assassinated, they only had one-tailed beast, which was like the weakest, the one-tails, and they couldn't even get a Jinchuriki host that could control it until Naruto taught no jutsu with Gaara. Their location was also not great due to the lack of arid land. The Hidden Sand was founded by nomadic tribes that were made to unite by the first Kazekage Reto, and it was his successor Shimon, the second Kazekage, that would set the stage for the puppeteering jutsu and sand manipulation techniques that the coming generations would adopt. A lot of powerful shinobi hailed from the village, like the third Kazekage, Sasori, and Chiyo. Sasori of the Red Sand in particular was considered a genius and had created many puppets for the Sand's puppeteering brigade that would still be in use years after his departure. Both the 4th and 5th Kazekage possessed the magnet-style Kekkei Genkai, just like the 3rd. Pakura of the Sand also possessed a Kekkei Genkai, the Scorch style. With all that being said, I still think it's the weakest out of the 5 great nations. Let's not forget that Baki, who was considered like the strongest Sand Jonin, scaled to average Leaf Jonin. Even the Land of Wind's own feudal lord outsourced missions to Konoha, which is an indication that the Sand's shinobi services may have been inadequate. And even when the Sand and Sound joined forces to invade Konoha, despite having the element of surprise and Orochimaru's support, they still couldn't get the dub, and Konoha handled them swiftly. So this is as high as I can rank them. Number 4 is the Hidden Mist Village in the Land of Water. Now, as we already know, the Hidden Mist has dealt with its fair share of instability and political unrest. It used to be called the Blood Mist due to the barbaric graduation ritual, where students in the ninja academy were made to fight to the death in order to graduate. This practice was meant to eradicate the shinobi's emotions in favor for battle efficiency, making them the perfect ninja tool. Which means that despite the civil unrest in the mist, they still produced capable shinobi that could complete their assignments without hesitation. That's why kingpins like Gato would hire Mist Ninja for assassination assignments. Assassinations were their specialty, and they employed the silent killing, where the shinobi would release a heavy mist to hide their presence and then soundlessly kill their opponent. This technique was mastered by all members of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen. The 7 Ninja Swordsmen were an elite group of ninja that possessed unique swords that would be passed down to generations. That is, unless the member takes the blade with them and they go rogue, which became the fate for all of the blades except the Hiramikari. That's the thing about the mist. They were powerful, but also very unstable. Eventually, a section of the Ambo named the Hunter Nin was formed to capture the rogue mist ninja to prevent sensitive village techniques from being leaked. A lot of powerful bloodlines originated from the village, such as the Yuki clan that possessed the Ice-style Kekigenkai, or the Hozuki clan that could turn their body into liquid, and is generally home to the best water-style users like the 2nd Mizukage Gengetsu, 4th Mizukage Yagura, and Kisame. So due to their superior services, and due to the fact that the village hosted 2 Bijou, I think it ranks higher than the Sand, but lower than the other 3 nations, considering how corrupt and fragmented the leadership was. Number 3 is the village hidden in the stones in the land of Earth. The hidden stone was one of the more dominant forces in the 5 great nations. And just like the hidden mist, the stone had 2 Jinchuriki in their possession, and they seemed to be ahead of their rival, the Hidden Leaf Village, in this one encounter. And the 2 Jinchuriki seemed to be able to even control their tailed beasts to an extent. But yeah, the leaf and the stone were usually pitted against each other. The hidden stone had their own nindo that ran parallel to the leaves, that being the Will of Stone. Their shinobi were stubborn and strong-willed, and they specialized in earth-style ninjutsu. The stone was a formidable opponent to Konoha, and they invaded the grass village which bordered the land of fire, and even set up a supply line. But then they suffered a humiliating defeat to the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Also, the stone had an organization called the Demolitions Unit, or the Explosion Corps, where Deidara stole the forbidden jutsu before going rogue. The stone also developed the Kake Toda, which is a combination of 3 different elemental natures, the particle style, which has been passed down the line of Tsuchikages. Now, since there was no Uchiha's candle there, the stone was a lot better off than the mist, but it still started falling off a bit, with an out-of-touch geezer as the Tsuchikage, who would even hire the Akatsuki at times to carry out missions that the village couldn't be directly involved in or lacked the resources for. And this same organization that he hired would not only hunt down the stone's Jinchuriki, which was an embarrassment to the village, but they would go as far as bombing the village in one occasion. It was the Kazekage's words that reignited Onoki's will. So the hidden stone was a big deal, but I think that number 3 is as high as I can rank it. Number 2 is the Hidden Cloud Village in the Land of Lightning. The Hidden Cloud was an even more dominant force than the stone. The shinobi that hailed from there are proficient in lightning-style techniques, which is arguably the strongest elemental nature, even through peace periods when the 5 great nations agreed to demilitarize. The cloud would dishonor the agreement and ramp up militarization to ensure that they got the upper hand in case hostilities resumed later. That's also the reason why the cloud was always pulling stunts like kidnapping the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki from the leaf or Hinata Hyuga just to get their hands on the Byakugan. Their hunger for power would lead to the cloud having some of the more elite shinobi of the 5 great nations. Like the Hidden Stone, the Hidden Cloud was a major competitor to Konoha. The 2nd Hokage and Raikage would attempt to end the rivalry and form a peace treaty between the 2 villages. But the summit would get undermined by an uprising staged by the Gold and Silver brothers. And we know that later on in the war, a group of 20 ninja affiliated with the Cloud, named the Kinkaku Force, would end up cornering the second Hokage's escort unit, and Tobirama would sacrifice himself so that his students could escape. Even if we jump to the third ninja war, we see the Cloud and the Leaf still going at it, with the 4th Raikage and the 4th Hokage being considered rivals. The Cloud also had a specialized facility built on the massive Turtle Island where Jinchuriki could learn to control the power of their tailed beast. It's where the Jinchuriki of the 2 Tails and the 8 Tails, Yugito and Killer Bee, trained to harness their Bijou powers. And it's why the Raikage was so reluctant to send Naruto there, since he knew how unstoppable Konoha would become if Naruto mastered the power of the 9 Tails. The Hidden Cloud gave way to many powerful ninja like the 3rd Raikage or Genkaku and Kinkaku, but it's still not enough to get the number 1, which is number 1. The Hidden Leaf Village in the Land of Fire. Shocker, right? But in all seriousness, it should be obvious why I ranked the village hidden in the leaves at number 1. It is the protagonist's home village, and it's the first shinobi village to be founded within a country, which inspired the 4 other nations to adopt this hidden village system. On top of that, it was the Leaf's first Hokage, the man that was called God amongst shinobi, that gathered up all of the Bijou and distributed them to the other nations. The second would go on to create some of the most powerful jutsu known to man, like the Shadow Clone, Flying Raijin, and especially the Reanimation Jutsu, one that would go on to dominate the world for years to come. And throughout the generations to come, the Hokage would remain the most powerful of the 5 shadows. The Hidden Leaf was considered to be the strongest village by far, and most of the time when it did face a challenge, it was usually from a Leaf shinobi that went rogue. Think about how many powerful shinobi originated from the Leaf. Hashirama, Madara, Tobirama, the Sannin, Hiruzen, Minato, Kakashi, Obito, Itachi, Sakumo, Sasuke, Naruto, Might Guy, and the list goes on and on, honestly. Konoha also had a subsection of the Yambu, the Foundation, led by the far right in the Leaf, where all its agents had undergone the same emotional conditioning practices as the Mist to create shinobi that would protect the Leaf from the shadows. Because of their upbringing, members of the Foundation never questioned their assignments, and they covertly executed many unethical missions throughout the other nations for the Leaf's sake. The rest of the world recognized the Leaf as the dominant force, and that's why every village has tried to take Konoha down a peg at one point. The Hidden Sand and Sound teamed up and launched a surprise attack. The Hidden Mist also tried to launch a surprise attack by implanting the 3 Tails in Rin. Even the Hidden Waterfall tried to kill the first Hokage. All a testament to the village's might. And if I personally had to hire shinobi, I would for sure go for the Hidden Leaf Village. And that's it for the ranking of the hidden villages in Naruto. I know that some of the smaller nations, like the Hidden Sound or the Hidden Rain, can take down some of the greater 5 because of outliers like Orochimaru and Pain, but I figured that in general, the 5 great shinobi villages should be the top 5. If you disagree with me on any points or just have some insight, then make sure to leave that in the comments. Drop a like as a token of appreciation for the video. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time.